From a potential time jump between seasons to Queen Charlotte's heartbreaking death, these are the biggest fan predictions for Bridgerton Season 3. Bridgerton's third season will soon, hopefully, drop on Netflix, and fans are buzzing about what we could possibly see as we watch Penelope Featherington and Colin Bridgerton's love story unfold. While we all know we'll get to see Penelope and Colin, aka Pollen, fall in love, there's not much else we know about what Season 3 of the show will hold. After all, a trailer hasn't even been released yet. But that doesn't mean that fans don't have predictions and theories about what will happen in the third season. Perhaps one of the biggest fan theories currently swirling around on social media has to do with the time frame of the third season of Bridgerton. A lot of fans think that a time jump will occur between the end of the second season and the beginning of the third. Now, there's no telling if this will happen, but let's dig in as to why and how this could occur. First of all, the book that the third season of Bridgerton is based on, Romancing Mr. Bridgerton, takes place when Penelope is a bit older. In the book, she's a spinster. She's on the shelf, as they say. She has no hope that she'll ever wed. This is a bit different from the Penelope we saw at the end of Season 2, as Penelope was still very much looking to marry. Even if she had been out for more than a few seasons, regardless, she wasn't considered a spinster yet. But if a time jump, even a small one, occurs by the time Season 3 picks up, Penelope could indeed be a spinster. After all, back in the early 1800s, young ladies in London could quickly become spinsters at the ripe old age of 25. Times were different then. So even if Season 3 takes place 2 to 3 years after Season 2, this could put Penelope in the spinster category, or close to it. This could also give us more insight into the growing Bridgerton family, particularly Kate and Anthony. A lot of people want to see the duo have children, and a time jump could do exactly this. It's worth mentioning that what we do know of Season 3 somewhat contradicts this theory, but not totally. In the show, Colin will help Penelope as she tries to land a husband, giving her advice and teaching her ways that she could flirt with the eligible men of London. So, as she's still trying to wed, this might mean she's not a spinster yet. But this doesn't mean a time jump is off the table. Quite the opposite. If she's closer to becoming a spinster, then this pressure to land a husband could lead her to ask Colin, the man she previously loved before he carelessly broke her heart at the end of Season 2, for help. This time jump isn't the only fan theory about Bridgerton Season 3 floating around. Not even close. There are a lot of theories, most of them involving Penelope and Colin. This is their season after all. One big theory predicts that Colin will find out that Penelope is Lady Whistledown in a different way than he does in the books. In the books, Colin discovers that Penelope is Lady Whistledown after following her and discovering how she's getting her work published in secret. He's furious with her for putting herself in harm's way in a seedy area of town, but also because she's written about his family too. More than anything, he can't stop the jealousy he feels that she's an accomplished writer, when that's something he'd like to be. Colin asks Penelope to marry him after this confrontation, so he's completely aware of who he's marrying before he even proposes. Fans predict this won't happen in the series, and instead think Colin won't find out the truth about Penelope until he's married, or the very day of their wedding, which would be a cruel and dramatic twist indeed. This revelation could ruin their wedding or their marriage after all. It was a big issue for the couple in the books, so it will clearly be one in the show. Plus, let's not forget that Eloise, Penelope's former best friend and Colin's sister, knows that Penelope is Lady Whistledown. She hasn't told anyone, but when she realizes that her brother is marrying Penelope without knowing the whole truth, will she spill? Perhaps on his wedding day? In the books, Colin is the first to discover Penelope's secret, so already the show has gone a different route with Penelope's alter ego. It'll be interesting to see if this fan theory comes true, as it will cause a whole lot more drama for the couple. Fans also think we might get a glimpse of some of the next love stories to be told later on in the series, namely Benedict's romance with Sophie Beckett. After all, Book 3 of the Bridgerton series follows Benedict and Sophie's story, while Book 4 follows Colin and Penelope's. The show, however, decided to tell Pollen's story first, which could mean we get Benedict and Sophie's story in Season 4. And this makes a whole lot of sense when looking at what happens in their book. Benedict and Sophie's story is told over years. At the beginning of the book, Benedict and Sophie meet at a ball, and Benedict falls hard for her. However, he doesn't see her again until years later, and at this point, she's a servant. In the show, we could possibly see Benedict meet Sophie for the first time in Season 3, even though their real story won't occur until Season 4. This would give the two time to really build their story, which might work wonders, just as it's worked well for Colin and Penelope in the show. Sophie hasn't yet been introduced in the show, nor has anyone been cast to play her. So there's no telling if we'll get this or not, but it would be nice if we could see their story begin, even in a small way, before their season officially starts. While the romance stories are the main stories of Bridgerton, there are a lot of side stories that flesh out the world the characters live in. The Featheringtons have had ample stories throughout the first 2 seasons, and their financial hardships have been shown repeatedly. So in Season 3, fans think that Penelope will begin to help her family financially in some way, though whether she'll admit to her mother that she's Lady Whistledown remains to be seen. Penelope has made an awful lot of money since becoming Lady Whistledown, which we saw at the end of Season 2. While Lady Featherington has managed to better the family finances by the end of the season, who knows what the future could hold? Many fans, therefore, think that Penelope will begin to share some of her finances with her family. If this manages to end with Lady Featherington finally giving Penelope some level of respect, I'd love to see it. While these theories are big and very interesting, they are nothing compared to a huge theory that has made fans worry about Season 3. As it could mean that a fan-favorite character dies. If the show follows history, then we could see Queen Charlotte die sometime during the 3rd season, which would be heartbreaking to watch, especially after we all fell in love with the character even more after binging Queen Charlotte. Why do fans think this will happen? Well, at the end of Queen Charlotte, which takes place during Bridgerton's current time, Queen Charlotte learns that her son, Prince Edward, is going to have a child with his wife. This child will end up being Queen Victoria. However, heartbreakingly in real life, Queen Charlotte died a year before Queen Victoria was born, which could mean that we'll have to see Queen Charlotte die in this upcoming 3rd season. If this fan theory turns out to be correct, this is going to be heartbreaking for a whole lot of reasons. Fans loved Queen Charlotte in Bridgerton, but everyone really fell in love with the character after seeing her youth played out on the screen in the prequel, Queen Charlotte. To see the character die? Well, that would be more than a little sad, but it looks like we'll have to wait until Season 3 drops on Netflix before we find out if this theory, or any of these theories, will happen. So, from Queen Charlotte's death to a possible time jump, these were the best fan predictions for Bridgerton Season 3.